as we interact with each other. We refer to the Middle Ages as the Dark Ages because that was a time that there was, at the fall of the Roman Empire, right? That was a time in which the what they call to be the intellectual, the world, not counting Africa, fell into darkness, fell into lack of understanding of culture, scientific advancement, everything. But the truth is, right, is that the African, the African, again, saved humanity. The truth is that when Europe fell into despair because of all of the invading hordes and forces that were invading Europe, it was the African who came in and taught these kingdoms. It was the African who brought in written language and showed them how to build. It was the African who brought in ancient papers and ancient understanding so that they could rebuild in Europe. But if you look at history, history will tell you that things like the Renaissance and things like that came about as people tried to go back and reclaim Roman and Greek understanding, and they leave out that African part, which informed the Roman and the Greek. When we look at the wars that were waged during those times of the Dark Ages, we start to understand that the reason that people were cut off was because of the constant war fighting, anger, because of the systems that they had in place. The feudal system in itself is a foolish system to have, but it is something that man wanted, right? The English feudal system had a pyramid of power. You see it in your movies. You had the king at the top. You had the nobles and the lords, right? They own land, they own different things, protection and everything. They were given land and given fiefs or property. They still have it now, if you look at England, to basically lord over under uh, the protection and guidance of the king. They had knights and vassals, right? People who represented them militarily and protected them. And then at the bottom down there were your farmers, your peasants, your serfs. Depending on what you knew, you were a little bit more of a little higher in the pyramid. But if the king doesn't know anything, if the nobles are ignorant and they're just warring, they're going on crusades, they're taking the property, they're taking the wealth of the land to go and start wars, then that whole pyramid collapses. And this is what was going on in Europe until you had the Moors, as they call them, the Africans, who came and tried to establish to them a better understanding of knowledge, of knowledge. Even in the way they built their castles, you will see the change after the Moors came and how all of that happened. A better way of defending what it is that you had, but also in a better way of protecting the people. If you were to go to England and look at, I think the only one you could probably really say